Hello, everyone. You're watching our BlueTube exclusive. This is current climate, not at the radio station. We're at the Alpha Sigma Phi frat house. Um,
Undisclosed location.
yeah. Ignore everything I just said. Undisclosed We're in an undisclosed secret location. The CIA actually picked it out for us. It's very, very, very high security. You could never guess where it's at all. Uh, but
Completely classic.
yes, exactly. So the purpose of this, and I kind of came to this idea because there were some scheduling issues with having my radio show. Well, now yesterday. So, and I was like, okay, well, I still want to do a show, so I decided to record one. And I decided to sort of format this differently than my live shows because our live shows we talk about current events. And current events don't do so well when you're recording a video. I mean they can work, but I figured we could do something a little bit differently and we can kind of go in depth in some issues. We can talk more about if we're talking about foreign policy, we can kind of dive deeper into it. We can talk about sort of a history behind it and things like that. And although we might talk a little bit about current events in these specials, because I plan on doing more of these, although we're going to talk a little bit about recent news, it's going to be mainly focused on just, I guess, content sort of stuff. It'll be like on the history of things, and that's pretty much it.
It's not going to be so much as going down the headlines like we normally do with all the current events, like one by one, just catching everybody up on what's going on. Today is going to be more of going deep into philosophy and kind of just our general standing of the future and the past and looking ahead.
Yeah, pretty much. So I know you missed the last radio show. You couldn't make it. When we were talking about Ukraine.
That's a topic that is important to me.
Yes, yeah. So if you wouldn't mind, just like I guess giving us like I guess just a bit of a like not I wouldn't say history lesson because there is a rich history, but sort of a brief like a historical background and then sort of just like what's been happening since 2022.
I'll give you my perspective on it, which is
All right.
basically that in 1991, I want to say, the
Okay.
Soviet Union fell. Is that right? 1991, I think. Maybe
It was
93.
early
Checkpoint Charlie,
90s.
Berlin Wall fell, no more Soviet Union. It all came to an end, the Soviet Union, back in the 90s. And so, a country that had been run by communism was now a capitalist country, just like every other Western nation, really. And you would think that once that happens, or at least shortly after, Russia becomes a country like other countries in the Western world, and they just run on a traditional capitalist system, and they get sort of what you would think they would be welcomed in with open arms after that, but they weren't. That's the thing, is that the United States and other countries have, for some reason, found it very important to make Russia their enemy, no matter what. It's been important to make Russia the enemy, and we find whatever excuse possible to fund wars against them and whatever.
I think that part's is really just about. Sorry, I'm also trying to get rid of a cold that I had over Thanksgiving break, so I apologize if I cough into the microphone. But I think part of the problem with Russia is just that it's a pretty it's a bit of a threat to the United States, just in the sense that it can actually compete. A lot of other and it doesn't have the exact same I guess liberalism that you would see in America or the UK or other countries. And so when you're trying to sell an idea that I'm American, I'm not Russian, so I'm not like I'm not trying to sell you on Russia, but it is a different system, and although there are claims of autocracy, dictatorship behavior, I think that Moscow seems pretty clean, and so it seems to be working out for them despite sanctions and things like that, which which is sort of like an, I guess, ideological attack on other countries that are more I don't, I hesitate to say liberal because it's not even in a political sense, just
Nobody
in
even
a
knows what that word means anymore.
but it's not even like in a political sense. It's just, I guess, socially just liberal, if that makes any sense. It's, I guess, a more authoritarian culture, I suppose.
And I guess it's sort of been authoritarian for basically centuries. I mean, but even before the Soviet Union and all that, they still ran on more or less an authoritative.
Oh yeah.
Before the Russian Revolution, I mean, they had czars and all this
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean,
So I mean, but I will say this though. I mean, like you said, I mean, they are in a way sort of like a competitor of ours, like China.
Yeah.
But that is all the more reason, in my opinion, to not make them our enemy.
Don't mind me just being a weirdo, messing with the audio settings. Make sure you.
Oh, is it still able to hear me?
Yeah, it's still able to hear you.
Okay.
It was a little too low for my comfort.
A little too
so
low, yeah. Well, I mean, it's all the more reason, in my opinion, like you said, because they're a competitor and they're a powerful country. It's all the more reason, in my opinion, to not provoke them, and especially not fund a war fund a war effort against them.
Yeah.
I understand that Russia is the one that invaded Ukraine in 2022. However, in a lot of ways, I mean, the United States and a lot of Western European countries kind of provoked it because, they had an understanding with Russia that they weren't going to expand they weren't going to expand NATO 1 inch eastward, and that's when Ukraine started trying to join NATO. That broke that agreement, and so that's why Russia invaded. Not justifying it, not whatever, but I'm saying that we do hold some responsibility as a nation for kind of provoking it, and as well as other countries like the United Kingdom and a lot of Western European countries, and we don't want to. I've thought this was a terrible idea from the beginning to get involved with this conflict. One, because I'm naturally just a non-interventionist, and I'm very, much think we should worry more about our own country before we go putting military bases in other countries and funding wars that are not about us. And in this situation, it makes it even worse because we are fighting a war, or we're not boots on the ground, but we are funding a war that is against, like you said, a competitor, someone that is dangerous, someone that has more nuclear weapons than we do, and a government, like you also said, is more authoritative, and there's not as many checks and balances there. When provoked, they are not a safe, they're a threat. Yeah. Especially when we provoke them, they're a threat now because we're funding war against them. Yeah. Anyway, so I appreciate president's trying to make peace. He's been trying to make peace and end the conflict and trying to he's the first American president that's met face to face with Vladimir Putin or any Russian leader in I think over 10 years maybe, or
I think so.
A long time. Yeah.
Wow.
So very good on him, and he's been working with Zelensky too. So he's trying. He's not just sending over a bunch of money recklessly trying to just fund war. He's trying to bring it to an end. So I appreciate his efforts. But
Yeah.
Hope it ends soon. It's the 28-point plan, and it came out recently. A proposal that the U.S. made to Ukraine to try and bring the conflict to a close. I heard that Zelensky agreed to it, and then I heard that they were working out some minor details, and then
it became 19 points. It became 19
it's
points.
like, yeah, so it anyway, it's progress is happening. When I heard the news a week or two ago, I thought like, oh, this is finally about to end, like for real. But
yeah.
Then, as these things sometimes go, it didn't quite end.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, what are your thoughts?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I'd have to agree. I do appreciate the fact that, I mean, he has something, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always the cynical one, so I'm like, I'm just waiting for it to like not go through.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm feeling hopeful. I heard the same things you did about Zelensky being in agreement with a lot of the points, so I think we're okay. I was having a lot of problems like before because I know Trump was trying to negotiate with Zelensky, and he's talking about Zelensky I can't remember when this was, but he was talking about like, he's like, no, I want NATO protection, like I want guaranteed security, pretty much. And what Trump was trying to do was send American workers there to mine. What was it to mine? What was it exactly? It was like lithium, cobalt, something like that. I cannot remember. And I was thinking to myself, like, why wouldn't you want American workers there? Because Trump was like, that was probably like that was a smart card because you're bringing American industry in. It's sort of like an economic move.
Yeah.
And then you're also, which is like the more low-key part of it, is that you're giving Zelensky protection. Because American workers, if Russia's attacking Ukraine and they accidentally kill an American worker, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they'll be less likely, they probably will be a lot more careful when it comes to attacking. Because if they do attack if they do attack further and they accidentally strike an American enterprise or they kill an American worker, like that's a hot war.
Yeah.
And Russia won't risk that, I'm sure.
No, they won't.
Because that's, it doesn't matter, like, that's mutually assured destruction at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess that would sort of be the purpose of putting our stuff over there, is to sort of deter them from more violence.
Yeah.
Am I wrong about that? I mean,
no.
Yeah, that's the ultimate goal.
What I really don't like is like the people, like the Republicans that are advocating for Ukraine, and they wear their pins, they wear their Le Pins, and it's just very disgusting behavior because it's like they have no humanity at all. Like they'll watch drone footage of like Ukrainians like killing like Russians that are like pleading for their lives and things like that. It's like, dude, that's disgusting. Like that's actually morally disgusting. I don't know what you're doing. Like it's just they're like celebrating and they're laughing about it, and they're signing missiles. It's like, bro, why are you autographing a missile?
Yeah.
That's like
it's
just not.
It's very concerning.
I think part of it is in who was it that said this?
It's almost like they just like the war. They like the violence.
Yeah.
It's like they just like want it to happen. It's the same kind of people that were 100% all in on the Iraq war and all the wars that we were in the Middle East in the 2000s. Like, it's the same kind of neocon, old school Republican. Yeah. Unfortunate. Good news is that brand of Republicans is slowly sort of fading away.
Yeah.
But bad news is there are still some left. So.
And I think we have to be careful going forward because it seems like some of them are sort of chameleons in the sense that they can adapt and maybe they can say things that sound non-interventionist and things like that, but they do that to kind of slip in, and then next thing you know, it's the same thing all over again.
Yeah.
With the old Republicans. And dude, I finally get to talk about JD Vance now.
Oh yeah?
I finally get to talk about JD Vance. Let's go. Okay.
Why finally at this moment?
At this moment, because we're talking about the old Republican Garden. We're talking about rhinos. Yeah. We're talking about the Republicans in name only.
See, right now the rhinos are the neocons.
Yes.
I firmly believe that. I mean, the Republican Party right now is a non-interventionist, America First group.
Yes.
But there are still those stragglers left over.
Yeah.
The George Bush era, Dick Cheney, CIA masterminds.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's still those people left over.
Yeah. But but if you have noticed, there's those old people, and then there's people sort of like Ben Shapiro, where he's a neocon, but he knows the right words, right? He knows the right language. Or you have JD Vance, he knows the right language. He can speak to maybe the fringe of a group without actually speaking to them, without actually having their same policies. And this is why he was selected. He was sort of groomed into the position that he's in now, because if you recall, this guy, he loved Obama. He was like hardline Democrat. And I'm not, when I say he loved Obama, that sounds so derogatory. He loved Obama, he was an Obama lover. But I don't mean it like that. I guess it's more of a testament to his alleged 180, right? It's not really, anyway, I digress. So he loved Obama. He wrote about his how he and his trans friend wept together during the Trump administration. He called Trump Hitler, I don't know how many times, and he called him racist and things like this. And I'm not saying you're not allowed to change your mind. That's not the case at all.
Yeah.
Yes, you can change your mind. It happens all the time. But when you're that extreme, right? Sorry. When you're that extreme, you also have to consider, like, how did he change his mind? Where was this paradoxical shift?
Mm-hmm.
And you also have to understand how he even came to meet Trump. Like, how did they end up making amends, right?
Yeah.
The person who orchestrated this was Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel is the founder of Palantir. I know I talked about this on the show before.
Yeah.
But I finally get to talk about it in relation to JD Vance. Or at least I don't think I've talked about JD Vance before. But anyway,
you definitely talked about Peter Thiel.
Yeah, for sure.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Yes, yes. So the founder of Palantir. Now Palantir is an intelligence agency, or not agency, but it's a company that deals in data and intelligence, basically. Mm-hmm. It's pretty much the CIA. Why I say that is because Palantir, its only customer was exclusively government agencies, FBI, CIA, NSA, Department of Homeland Security. Okay? For the first almost decade or so of its, what would you call that? Pretty much, its first decade or so, its only customers were the government. And also, its funding comes from, or a percentage of its funding comes from In-Q-Tel. In-Q-Tel is a venture capital firm of the CIA.
Yeah.
So it's effectively the CIA. Palantir is the CIA, effectively. So JD Vance, he changed his name like 5 times, by the way.
His legal name?
Yes, like 5 times.
Really?
Yes.
That's
a story for another time, but like, yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I have never heard about that.
Yeah. He changed it. It's funny because he changed it shortly after he released Hillbilly Elegy, the book. Because he wanted to. What is his actual last name? It's not Vance. Before he changed it, because he changed it to his grandmother's last name shortly after Hillbilly Elegy was released. Mm. Under the support of Peter Thiel, because Peter Thiel also gave him Yale. I don't know if you knew that. He gave him a start in what was it, like crypto technology, like weird weird companies and things like that. He gave him money. He pretty much paid J.D. Vance off. And J.D. Vance was sort of groomed by him to be this perfect politician because Peter Thiel saw that J.D. Vance came from, this hillbilly elegy, right? Mm-hmm. That's where he came from.
That's the book he wrote?
Yeah, that's the book he wrote, yes. That's where he came from, right? He came from this rural community, sort of. Well, maybe not rural, but it's just this he came from low class, white family. He saw drug problems, and he saw a lot of stuff. So Peter Thiel was like, wait, we can monopolize on this. We can attract. He was basically used as bait in some ways, because okay, he can attract the white vote, right? He can get the white working class people, and it's important. And I know that sounds whatever, but yes, it was targeting white people specifically. I know that sounds like, oh, why are you saying white? Well, because that's what he was, and that's the idea behind him. That's what his appeal was. His entire position, pretty much, Peter Thiel gave him this position of just like appealing to these like more rural communities, these lower class white working families, and he sort of acted as a de-radicalizing agent. Now, what I mean by that is that, he's like, I'm country and this is racist, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Trump's racist, that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
So he was meant to be like, the hillbilly elegy was meant to give him credibility among these demographics. Because if it was a liberal person, dyed hair, lives in New York.
Just another lib.
Exactly. Yeah. But if it's him, then
it's like, wow, that's kind of person I don't usually hear saying that.
Exactly, yeah.
It's an eye-opener.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And so Peter Thiel used him as a de-radicalizing agent, and then they meet with Trump. Peter Thiel organizes this meeting with Trump. And Peter Thiel, I don't know if you knew this too, he was working on PayPal. Do you know who else was working on PayPal?
No.
Elon Musk.
Okay.
So Elon and Thiel, they have a good relationship with each other as well. And so by proxy, Trump, Thiel, Elon, Vance, they all have this relationship. And so Peter Thiel's trying to get J.D. Vance to be VP, because J.D. Vance, of course, is sympathetic toward Thiel, and Thiel owns Palantir. And Palantir, it spies on everybody. I'm sure I for sure spoke of this before. I don't know if it was on a recorded show or not. But I talked about how they obtained this. Palantir was how people got all of the January 6th people. That's how they got them arrested and identified them and everything else. Yeah. It was by Palantir. Palantir also talked about developing like potential terrorist levels and things like that. Like you can strike people before they become a threat. With like this threat detection software, they would analyze you. They would like get your face, right?
Yeah.
They were talking about using this in Palestine, actually. I'm not trying to talk about Israel this time. Gee, I promised myself. Okay.
But I get it. They scan your face.
Yes, they scan your face. Yes, they scan your face, and they'll pull up all online information about you to see if you're a terrorist or not. Pretty much.
I got you. Yeah.
It's like predictive software. They're using AI to do it. And they're also developing a political enemies list. Yeah. And it's just, going down the line of what they consider to be problematic. And that's a big problem as well. In America, they have a list out it's American like political enemies, political dissidents. It's a big problem. So Peter Thiel needs Elon Musk in the administration and Vance in the administration, because what does Elon have? He has Doge, right? And Doge is like, well, we need to do this, like, we need to make all these cuts, but we need to do this right. And so he brings Thiel in because AI, right? Palantir. He brings Thiel in, and it's sort of like a back door almost. Doge serves as a back door to let all of this data collection happen. And this is how you get Thiel kind of like really whispering in Trump's ear about, creating task forces with like to combat anti-Semitism and things like that. Where I don't know if I already discussed this before, but if I did, sorry, you're just gonna have to deal with it. I'm gonna repeat myself. So basically, what they would do is they would get students or teachers undercover, and they would just monitor campuses. And if a student or teacher said anything that they deemed to be problematic, especially in regards to like anti-Semitism, they would report. They would report that back to the White House.
Yeah.
And what Trump would do was, based on that information, he would say, all right, if you don't take care of this problem, if you don't take care of this student or this teacher, if you don't take care of these students, these teachers, this club, whatever, then we're going to pull your funding. We're going to pull your public funding. So it's sort of strong-arming colleges to kick people out that are being anti-Semitic. Now, we can make the case, okay, hate speech, should that be tolerated on campus? People can make the case that it's like, oh, well, what's the problem, right?
People are like, burning American flags and putting, drawing swastikas on campus. Yeah. Pull the funding.
Yeah. But where it gets concerning is, have you ever heard of Project Esther?
No.
Okay, so it's by the American Heritage Foundation. And American Heritage Foundation, they also made Project 2025. So Project Esther, it's sort of a plan, right? It's a plan to delegitimize people that are critical of Israel by calling them anti-Semitic. It's sort of like putting them together to prevent the criticizing of Israel. And so couple that, and we have people that are in Project 2025. Like, I know that was a big thing during the 24 campaign for Democrats to say, he's going to start Project 2025, Project 2020, it's going to be the Handmaid's Tale.
Yes, the president will have an agenda.
yeah, but the guys that were writing Project 2025, they also wrote Project Esther. And so they're going to be pushing this idea that if you're critical of Israel, you're going to be labeled an anti-Semite. What does that mean for you and me, for instance, right? If we're on a show and we're like, okay, so I disagree with what Israel's doing or something like that. Doesn't matter. Let's say I'm not even hateful. Let's say I don't even blame the government at all. I only blame one person. Let's say I blame Benjamin Netanyahu solely, right? Someone listening in from the government can take my clip. They can send it. They can send it over to the White House, and within a month, someone would be like, "Hey, we're gonna pull your funding." They won't do that for every single college because obviously that would be a problem. They wouldn't. I highly doubt they'll do that for this tiny little college, but they'll do it for the Ivy Leagues to set an example. Because those are the big thinkers, and
But for a statement like that, I highly doubt. So for example, like Columbia University, they got their funding pulled, I think, right?
Yeah.
Or at least a lot of it, like a bunch of their funding pulled.
Well, they were threatening. I don't know if they actually did it or not.
But in my opinion, that needed to happen. Because
they were acting
was,
ridiculous.
Yeah,
that wasn't
when Jewish students can't go to class.
Yeah, that's
because they're being threatened by people with unspeakable things. Whenever unspeakable violent stuff against Jewish people is happening on a campus,
stuff like that.
Funding,
Yeah, I'm not even talking about that.
But for a statement, for a statement on a show like we're having now, that has anything like you mentioned, pulling funding because of that, it would be nuts.
Yeah. And
does that really happen though?
They were in the talk. They were in talks of it. That I haven't seen a case of it happening yet, but they said they were going to start a task force up. I actually don't know the progress on it. It's been very quiet after they announced it back in. Dude, that was toward the beginning of the administration. I want to say that was. Sorry, I want to say that was in May or June. I think is when they were saying that. So, I don't know if anything came of it, but just that as an idea, I think that's kind of crazy, and that's just the fact that it was even entertained. I mean, that's just that gives me a lot of mistrust in Peter Thiel, and of course J.D. Vance by proxy.
I have to say I haven't even heard of this guy Peter Thiel until you told me about him.
Yeah,
I've literally never heard of this.
Yeah, I mean he's under the shadows, man. That's the way you got to do it.
Yeah, you got to do some research, right?
Yeah.
to find his name.
Yeah, it takes a little bit.
And I didn't even know what Palantir was until you told me either.
Yeah. So.
But.
Dude, even Alex Jones didn't know. Because I remember he talked about Raytheon and all these other corporations when that's more like military industrial complex, which Palantir does handle that as well.
Yeah.
In some regards. But that was completely off his radar. He said that Palantir is a small organization that's harmless pretty much.
Yeah. So
he's like, that's a waste of time. Because I remember I watch everything. I watch even though Candace is going kind of wild now.
Yeah.
I still watch Candace a little bit. Not as much as I used to. I did watch her every day. I tried to. I still watch Tucker a little bit. I can't watch Ben Shapiro. I don't know what it is now. I can't.
So you should be watching Current Climate. That's what you should be
watching. No. But I watch a little bit of. I try watching Matt Walsh a little bit too. Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles.
Well, I tell you what. I mean, so during the pandemic, during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah.
That is sort of when I started to become more politically aware because, of course, I was up in arms about the whole masks and vaccine mandates and all that.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is just and shutting down schools. Come on, all that stores and all that. Just crazy nonsense.
Yeah.
That's when not gonna lie, some of the people on Fox News and Ben Shapiro, Tucker Carlson, all those guys that was the voice of reason during that time. Because back then, it wasn't about foreign policy during that time. It was about let's open up schools, let's open up businesses,
it was on a different focus. It was a different dichotomy.
Let's not have the mom and pop shops in this small town go out of business because of mask mandates and closure restrictions. It wasn't even the whole focus was on this COVID stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't even on. Obviously now in the past few years it's shifted because pandemic's over and we've got we've got things going on. We have the Russia-Ukraine war. We've got we had the whole October 7th Israel Gaza war, and then we had, just a lot of things, new things have happened since then.
Venezuela.
Yeah, all of it, and so it's been a lot. But during that time, it was just like my whole focus was on this pandemic because it was just like.
No, I feel you, man.
I mean, it was just really, really enraging. Just that schools are being shut down. People in middle school just. When you learn your basic social skills, they can't even go to the classroom.
Honestly, for me, I didn't like getting cooped up in the house, but it was a blessing for me, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you if you have a good family and you're in a good situation, it's not all bad, right? But for the rest of the world, it's like, dang, this sucks.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, it really is for 99% of people. It sucked. And so it's just like.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think about just like, where would we. Like people, we forget that whole thing happened. That whole COVID,
it got memory hold, for sure.
No one talks about it anymore. People forget, they were stuck in their home and were forced to wear a mask and couldn't go to school or work or whatever for over a year. People just forget. I feel like people have just literally forgotten that's even happened.
I mean, I think that's part of it. I think it really is a psychological thing too, because it's sort of like when you're. I don't remember the proper terminology for this, but it's like when you're sitting there and you're bored and you're just staring at a wall or something. You're not gonna remember what you were thinking 5 seconds ago because you're bored and you're just you're absent-minded, and then you could be waiting somewhere for 2 hours. As soon as you're done, the moment you're done waiting for something. I don't know, a doctor's appointment or something, I don't know. Not that it would take 2 hours, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
So, you could wait somewhere, it feels like forever. You're done waiting, you go to the doctor's office, and you're done with the appointment, and you think about that time when you were waiting, and it feels like nothing. You can barely remember it, because it's just a whole lot of doing nothing.
Yeah.
And so it's sort of I think it's the same idea with the quarantine and stuff, because it was a fever dream, partially because everybody was cooped up in the house, and every day was the same. It was the same day over and over again for a good minute, and so the years blurred together, and although, and I'm not trying to say things didn't happen, they did happen, but on a more localized level, you're just cooped up in your house. There's nothing. You're not doing anything really. So there wasn't a lot going on sort of on the day-to-day, which I think created gaps in memory in that sense too.
Yeah.
Because everything just happened at once. Now when you're looking at it retroactively, everything sort of just happened at once. Ukraine, the riots, everything, exactly. January 6th, just all happened pretty much at the same time.
Yeah, and so they're just and so it did. It was just there was 2020 through 2022 was whoa, that is a lot. I mean, I have to say what really bothers me is people the January 6th thing happened.
Yeah.
And people were very alarmed by that. They were making investigations about it. They're making movies and documentaries about it. They were making a really big deal, and it was a major thing that happened. But it was it just years after that just dragged on.
Yeah, and I think it was crazy.
But then, just the summer before that January 6th, the summer of 2020.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff that's not talked about. Minneapolis, Milwaukee, Chicago, Denver, Atlanta, stores looted, windows boarded up, just vandalism across the whole city.
Yeah.
Just horrific violence and just like.
Yeah, I mean they took over. I can't remember where that was, but the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
They took over like the Capitol Hill of. I can't remember where it was. I think it might have been Chicago. I don't have anything like on me. I don't have anything I can like. But I think, but they took over like a whole part of a city.
Mm-hmm.
Like completely took it over. Ran the cops out. Burned the station down, and they just like. And they governed themselves for a while. I think it lasted 8 months or something.
Gosh, so like all of this kind of stuff happened over the summer in 2020. Obviously following, the George Floyd murder and what was the guy in Kenosha someone in Kenosha. Anyway.
Oh, I didn't even remember that.
There was something, anyway, I think there might have been another instance. But, all of this crazy nonsense happens all summer long.
Yeah.
Riots, looting, boarding up shops, burning down, all this stuff happens. And, people just sort of brush it off and they're like, well, these are mostly peaceful protests. You got the classic
fiery but mostly peaceful.
You got the classic CNN, reporter, mostly peaceful protesters, and there's fire in the background. You got the most, people are just brush it off as they're just.
You know what I found out about that too, in retrospect? Did you know that? Well, you know that Sean Hannity and Trump are close friends, right?
I believe you. I don't know that, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
I believe.
Yeah, but they're good friends, and Hannity, because he was talking. Of course, they were. Fox News was also covering the riots. Now, I don't know how true this is, but there are rumors that Hannity talked to Trump and said hey, don't send National Guard, leave this to be an election issue. You'll win the election if you just leave it, let it happen, and then just run against it, sort of.
That I hope that didn't happen.
I hope so too, but I might have to look at. I'll look into that again.
Yeah.
Because I'm not entirely sure, but I just figured now that it's in my mind, I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah. But so all this stuff happens. People brush it off as just peaceful protests and all of that and whatever. And then January 6th happens.
Yeah.
And everyone just loses their mind.
Yeah.
And they pretend that this is just the biggest deal in the whole world, and they start making all of these task force and whatever. Or I don't know, not task force, but
they had a committee,
and just all of this, just all of this stuff for one day of stuff.
Yeah.
When you had all summer long of all of this destruction, businesses burned down, just all of this horrible violence going on in cities, and people just somehow brushed that off.
Yeah.
That I remember just being really frustrated by that for sure. And now it all seems just like a memory, because
it was an alternate universe.
It really was. That whole 2-3 years, or not 3 years, 2020 and 2000, I guess the first half of 2000, but really all of 2020 and 2021, just tangent universe almost, just completely different time. And then in 2021, you had all these ridiculous hey, if you want to go back to work, you have to get 15 shots in your arm. Obviously an exaggeration, but
I swear. On that topic, what's been happening to me sort of recently is my right arm will it'll feel like I just took a shot. I just took a shot, that vaccine, bro.
Yeah.
And I got vaxxed actually, and even back then I was okay, I get vaxxed, but I don't think people should be forced to get it. I don't think that's right. I think you guys should respect people's decisions to not get vaxxed. I got vaxxed because my dad has diabetes, and everybody was saying that he was at higher risk of COVID and stuff. After we got vaxxed, I ended up getting COVID. Like everybody ended up getting COVID anyway, but it turned out to be kind of weird. Actually, it wasn't like it wasn't that bad, but also it didn't feel like a cold. It felt really weird.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if anybody else got this, but like the back of my throat sort of felt numb.
Really.
And I felt and I was just very tired. It was just really weird. I felt very tired. My throat didn't hurt. It was just like numb.
Yeah. You know, a lot of people had some weird stuff happen.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it seems to me when they figured out that the vaccine. So actually it was a Trump thing. Like Trump.
It was a Trump thing.
So he you know.
Operation Warp Speed.
So of course, you know, when Trump came out with Operation Warp Speed, everybody was like, "Oh no, that's not gonna work. It's not gonna work."
I'm not taking that. I'm not taking that Trump. Trump shot.
Yeah, I'm not taking the Trump shot. And then, you know, next thing you know, inauguration, Biden gets in office. Actually, not only you know is the shot good to take now, you have to take it, or else you can't work or go to school or live your life. And then
that was insane.
And then, well, at first, I remember when Biden got in, it was like, you know, you should get vaccinated. Let's bring everything back to normal, whatever. And then once they, like a few months later, once they started realizing that the vaccine wasn't working, that's when they made people get it.
Yeah, it was kind of.
So because the vaccine wasn't working, it just wasn't. People were getting sick, and people were dying from with the vaccine. Like it wasn't working.
So weird, man.
And then after they figured that out, after it was very obvious that the vaccine wasn't working, they made people do it. That's when all those mandates came into full swing. When they realized it wasn't even working.
Yeah, and it's like it's not even. What was the mortality rate on COVID again?
I have no idea, but
it was like.
And you just have to wonder about that. You know, when those cases were reported and the deaths were reported, you just have to question that info. You do, and you have to just blame it on Anthony Fauci, honestly. Blame it on because that guy was he loved every minute of that. He loved the attention. He loved getting to write his little book about himself. The guy was he loved it. He didn't, in my opinion, I think Anthony Fauci was not honest about the COVID-19 disease and did not tell the American people the truth about it because he knew it would benefit him. That's my humble opinion.
Yeah, I mean, that is, big pharma, man. I mean, that's why we have so many different vaccines to take. And I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I believe in vaccines, but it gets to a point, why would I need an HIV prevention vaccine, the day I'm born? That doesn't make any sense.
I believe in vaccines. I don't believe in masks, though. I don't even think they work.
Not the masks they make you wear.
No, the masks that were mandated to wear during COVID, I don't even think they work. Honestly.
No, they're not that effective.
I don't think they work. Yeah.
They're not that effective. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Okay, our whole entire family did everything right. Wore masks. We wore masks properly, by the way, because I know a lot of people wore them improperly.
A lot of people. Remember people would just walk around with them under their chin.
Yeah.
I never understood that. People would walk into a closed building and have a mask under their chin.
Yeah, that's.
I'm like,
crazy.
Well, at that point, why do you even have it on?
Yeah. And then some of them were just they would go to restaurants where there's a mask mandate, you have to wear masks. But it's dude, it's a restaurant. They're gonna take off their masks to eat.
Yeah,
why would
exactly.
you even have the mandate there? And it's just stuff like that. It's a lot of acting.
Yeah.
A lot of acting with the celebrity.
You gotta stop yourself.
I was just reminded of the celebrities.
Yeah.
Those were the most. I don't care what your political leaning is, okay? Celebrities are insufferable. All right, they're
The
insufferable.
flashy ones.
Dude, like pretty much all of them are insufferable, except for like. I'm trying to think of a celebrity that I actually like, and it's pretty difficult. Except like.
You know, I mean, a lot of them, I don't know what they're like when they're not, like, in a movie, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what Tom Cruise is like when he's...
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Wait.
Or is that an example?
That's. So he's actually in the Church of Scientology.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I did know that.
Yeah.
You know, I've actually heard, though, that Adam Sandler is, like, a really great guy. Like, off camera. He's, like, really...
Yeah,
like,
he brings this guy, like, he's cool because he brings people in that, like, he's worked with before. He brings them into his projects and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, he always brings his people into stuff.
Yeah.
Which I think is nice. Let me think of, like... I don't like Seth Rogen at all.
I don't even know who that is.
I can't stand Seth.
I don't even know who that is.
He's like this... So his whole personality is that he's a stoner.
Oh.
It's like his whole thing. And it's just... I just, like... Some people are like, oh, you don't like him because you know, he's liberal. It's not even like that. There are liberal people that I like. It's just like him specifically.
I haven't even heard of him.
I don't like him.
Yeah.
There's like really no explanation for it because I don't know. There's literally no. I have no explanation for it really because I've also met people that do make being a stoner the whole personality, and I don't. And it's not that I dislike them as much as I dislike Seth Rogen. It's more like I don't know, something about Seth Rogen. It's like a combination of things. It's like the voice, the stoner stuff, the vernacular in which he speaks, like I guess his vocabulary, like how he talks in that sense. I can't.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know who he is.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
This is such an unserious conversation now. Like the beginning, we're like,
Yeah.
Hi, this is a BlueTube exclusive. We're a very serious show. We're talking about, we're going in depth on the real political issues that affect
But
you.
you know what though? Promise kept. We didn't go through the headlines this time.
That's true. We didn't.
We're talking
didn't go through the
about.
headlines. We're talking about Seth Rogen now.
Yeah. So one other thing. Okay. Do you know about anything about our new? What is his name? Pete Hegseth. You know?
Hegseth?
Yeah, he's the what is he, the
I don't know a lot
director
about him.
of defense, or what is it?
He's
Department of War now.
Yeah, Department of War. Yeah.
No, I like that name change. I do. I think it's transparent.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
I find it to be transparent.
Yeah.
I mean, look, that's what's really happening.
It's true.
So at least they're telling everybody now.
I don't get why people are mad at the name change, like that mad at the name change, because it's like it's just a name change. Nothing's changing functionally.
It's the same people that are mad about Golf of America. You know, it's just.
I mean, like, yeah, it feels, because it's such it doesn't mean anything. Like the name doesn't really mean anything. So why are we there are other things, like you can actually attack real policy, but attacking like renaming something is just
It's
like a whole
name,
other
yeah,
level.
I mean, it's, yeah.
But anyway, I digress. Pete Hegseth, I don't think there's anything that he said that I really disagree with, but at the same time, I haven't heard him speak that much. I did like what he was saying about like the PT standards for military. That sounded pretty good to me.
Yeah.
But other than that, like I haven't heard a lot from him.
Well, I don't know a lot about him either, but he seems pretty likable, honestly. Just because he does workouts with the military,
Oh, okay.
And like he did a military workout. Him and RFK Jr. actually did like a workout
Oh,
with the troops.
okay, yeah.
He does like workouts with the troops. He's just kind of a cool dude. You know?
Okay.
So I really don't have very much knowledge about him, but like he seems like he's bringing a different, sort of a more positive, and less sort of creepy Pentagon secrecy kind of vibe. He's bringing a more positive and sort of like uplifting approach to the military and the just Department of War in general. Because he was actually a Fox News host, I think, or he was on Fox News.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember.
Before,
I think I remember something like that.
Yeah, but
he has that cross tattoo that like everybody's saying is a.
He does. I didn't know.
Yeah, everybody's saying it's a Nazi symbol.
Whatever.
It's like the cross of Jerusalem. It's like the same thing that the Templars had.
The thing about anyone right now in this time we're living in 2025, if anyone that calls someone a Nazi, it's a defense mechanism. It really is, because like it's whenever someone is afraid or they just don't know what to say, they just don't like someone, they just don't know what to say, just Nazi. Like that's just kind of how it is. It's just kind of a defense mechanism now. It's something sad. That when people don't like someone in politics or don't like someone in general, don't agree with what someone said, Nazi.
It's unfortunate, and it's like I wish that the Republican Party didn't kind of fall into, because it feels like they sort of fell into that same thing where they'll say that too. They'll be like, oh, this sounds very like Nazi. Like this sounds very Nazi. I don't know about that. It seems whatever. Or like I just wish that we could just attack ideas by themselves. Like we don't have to be like, well, and I'm not a socialist, but I'm going to use it for an example. Like we don't have to be like, well, Hitler was a socialist. Why are you agreeing with Hitler? Or like Hitler liked Hitler. You know, you don't have to do that.
Like, it's a defense mechanism.
It is.
You know
it literally is.
It's really a defense. I mean, like
it literally is. Cause
it's just
like,
my first reaction to stuff like that is just like, just grow up. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, look, you're not. No one's a Nazi. Okay. Yeah. Like it's like you're using examples from, you're bringing some crazy lunatic dictator from 70 years ago to judge someone's opinion.
It's not. It's just so stupid. Like,
yeah.
Hey, guess what? Hitler passed laws that made animal cruelty illegal. Do you want to remove all our animal cruelty laws because Hitler did the same thing? Like what is the point? Genuinely, it doesn't make any sense.
No point. Like, it's honestly it's very. I find it very immature. Like when people throw out like just calling somebody a Nazi.
Dude, they're calling me a Nazi. Dude, my mom's like part Jewish and they're calling me a Nazi. It's kind of.
It's a defense mechanism. It is. It really is.
It is like
because like it's it really shows. Like in this day and age, like it shows it.
And I think people they've sort of gotten used to it. They've gotten pretty comfortable with it. Because I don't really care, right? But I remember talking to telling my parents about it, and I was laughing about it, but they were mad. They were ready to like start something. I'm like, I didn't see the big deal because like everybody gets called Nazi.
Yeah, it's just normal now. I hate that it's just so normal now.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just like
in some ways
people throw it out there so lightly.
Some ways it's like that does suck, but in others I think it's beneficial because people aren't afraid of being called a Nazi anymore. Like it doesn't mean anything anymore, and so now we're more free. Like we have more free dialogue because people just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Now that can also be a bad thing because, and which is why you shouldn't be calling people Nazis because there are people with genuine criticisms with genuine criticisms about, I mean, anything really. And then there's people that have genuine hatred in their hearts, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or maybe it didn't even start out as hatred, but say, you know, you get slandered enough, and you're like, you know, you just get beat down enough. Eventually, you're like, well, you know, maybe I will be the monster. You know, and that's a problem we do see a little bit with our generation, is that you see a rise in like genuine like criticism too, which is good, in discourse, and like not being afraid to sort of break the social taboo when it comes to politics. But at the same time, you're also seeing a much smaller group of people that are genuine, that have genuine hatred, that are sort of like, you know what, I don't care, like that just like they're angry, and they're angry, and they're sort of directing that anger in the wrong way. Like, it's okay to be angry at things that are happening in the world, and it's okay to be critical of people, but you can't be like, you know, you can't be like throwing pennies at people. Yeah. Like, I don't know if you heard that situation with like Dave Portnoy, and I don't like Dave Portnoy, but he's this
once
like,
again, don't know.
Yeah, okay. So Dave Portnoy, he's like this. And that's fair. I shouldn't be assuming that people know things, because like this guy's probably not that famous.
I live under a rock sometimes. So.
Nah, he's not even like that. He's not like mega famous or anything like that. So he's like, I don't even know what he does, but like not a great guy. He like runs gambling websites, and he's like, he's sort of sleazy a little bit. He's very like,
it's questionable.
Yeah. Stuff like that. And so he was doing like a pizza review, because he also does content creation too. He was doing like a pizza review, and somehow it said like F Jews or something, and like, we don't have to go that far, like, you know, you don't have to go that far, that's a little wild, like, you don't have to like throw pennies at him, which, listen, he might have he exaggerated, right? He's like, oh, it's an assault, like that his reaction to that was also crazy, because he acted like I mean, dude, like, pennies are not gonna hurt you, but at the same time, you shouldn't be throwing pennies at people. That's like then you're leaning into cruelty, right? But same thing, like, I saw another incident where it was like these kids that like they got like water guns, and they're like squirting, like, I think they were like Hasidic Jews or something like that. They were Jewish. They were Jewish people, and they were like squirting water guns at them. And it's like, yeah, was that harmful? No, but was that right? Absolutely no. Like, no. Like, basically, we can't lean into cruelty, pretty much. Mm-hmm. It's okay to be critical of systems, of people, and things like that, but you can't lean into cruelty. You have to keep a level head, and that's why ultimately the only way to actually be right wing without hatred in your heart, right, is through Christ, and is through God. That is the only way, because to be a Christian means that you believe everybody has a soul, and that everybody should be treated with the same respect, as a human being, right? And so, and you know, Jesus tells us to love people, to love our neighbor, and to love everyone. Now that doesn't mean you indulge them, of course, but it sort of prevents you from growing animosity toward people, and I think that's important.
It's an extremely honorable belief. I mean, it's like, you know, you just can't. No one can say there's anything wrong with that. I mean, to treat people with respect, and what you said, I mean, you can't. Who can say that that's not good to do? You know, to treat everybody equally, to treat everybody with respect, and like, that's just basic principles.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's, you know.
Yeah. As long as you keep that underlying, you just need that underlying foundation for when you get a little too far into like, when you get a little too far into like the politics, you have to like keep that in mind, that at the end of the day, you know, at the end of the day, we're all human.
Yeah, exactly.
And at the end of the day, you know, pray for them to change their way.
Yeah.
If we're talking about someone who is doing wrong, pray for them to change their ways.
Absolutely, yeah. It's honorable. It is. Yeah. It's honorable.
But how did we change? This started as like
it's just a segue.
Canada. Yeah, it's just
we started with Canada. Did we even talk about Canada? I don't know if we did.
Wait, did we talk? We didn't talk about Canada.
I don't know if we did. Did we?
Oh no.
Okay.
It's fine. We'll talk about it on the radio show next week.
That's a big thing. There's hoping this pipeline gets made. I think there was a deal made today. There's a lot of pushback. Hopefully it goes through. Hopefully there's a pipeline. I think it's a natural gas pipeline in Canada. That would solve a lot of problems and also ultimately probably help out their country a lot and make our United States relationship with them better if the pipeline gets built. So I'm really hoping it happens.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
So I will leave it with this since we're at an hour and 6 minutes. I will leave it at pretty much
next time Canada.
Yeah, next time Canada. And if you don't remember anything else, remember this, okay? Conservatism without God is the defense of yesterday's liberalism. All right? It is the defense of pretty much just policy set in stone like 10 years ago by like Obama or something. It's meaningless, in other words, is what I'm saying. Conservatism is dead without God, right? Politics is dead without God. It's just animosity. So, yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say. Do you have any final words?
My final words are, well, we talked about a lot. So
we did talk about a lot.
Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it. And we just wanted to go through a lot of different stuff and just, we didn't want to break down the news headlines one by one like we usually do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was good though.
Yeah, it was a good show. Good show.
Yeah. Good stuff.
All right. Yeah. See you guys.